Hi everyone, my name is Becca and welcome to this 45-minute restorative yoga class. So for class today, you might want to grab some props. I have 2 blocks, a strap, a pillow, and a blanket. Instead of a strap, if you don't have one, you can use a belt. This is just from my bed. You can use a blanket from your couch or something. In blocks, again, you can be like a stack of books or any hard surface that you can rest your head or your arm on. Okay, so we'll get started in a comfortable seat, whatever comfortable means to you. I usually like to prop up my hips on a blanket, or you can sit on your pillow or on a block. And that's going to elevate the hips a little bit so there's not so much tension in the knees and elbows to start off. And then once you get comfortable, allow your body to settle down into your seat. And we'll take a few clearing breaths together, inhaling. Little pause at the top and exhale out of the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale together, fill up. Pause at the top and exhale out of the mouth. Last time, inhale. Pause. And then exhale out anything that wants to release. We'll find some stillness here. You can let the eyes close or maybe take the gaze downwards. And I want you to imagine what it would be like if your mind were like a clear, blue, cloudless sky. What would that be like? And then move the awareness into the heart space. And imagine what it would be like if your heart space were a vast ocean. Deep, fluid. And then lastly, imagining that the body is like a mountain. Sturdy, supported, stable. Let's take one more deep breath cycle here. Breathing in these qualities. And then we'll blink the eyes open. And we're going to start today with some gentle neck stretches. So nothing crazy to start off class. We're just going to take the right ear down to the right shoulder. I like to use blocks for this, so you can stack it underneath your bottom hand. We're going to drop the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Just really easy here. And then before you settle in, maybe exploring the neck muscles. So you can turn the face down towards the floor or up towards the ceiling. You might move the position of the chin down or forward. And oftentimes there are some sticky spots in the neck. So just trying to pinpoint where those might be for you today. And then if you find one that's really calling out to you, I invite you to stay. And let the breath be soft and deep and flowing. Let the face be soft. Let the left eyeball, left eyebrow be soft. And relax your left hip. And relax your right hip so that there's no clenching going on in the seat. And you can stay right here. Or you can begin to take these left fingertips down, or you can take them on top of a block. I'm going to take my other block. And then you can kind of walk the block or your fingertips away from your left side. And that's going to deepen the sensation across the lateral side of your left neck, maybe even into the left collarbone, left shoulder. You might roll that left shoulder back and down. And then lastly, you can deepen this a little further, or you can stay. To go a little deeper, you might use your right fingers as a counterweight. So you can take the right fingers towards the left temple. Or if your chin is down towards your chest, you can take the right fingers at the base of the skull and provide very gentle traction of the base of the skull forward. And then trying to keep shoulders back, and what that's going to do is stretch the neck in isolation. And you might feel this down the trap, so that's along the back of the neck and starting to move into the upper back. And these tend to be really tight on people. People hold tension here, sometimes from sleep. These muscles tend to get knotted up. And just make sure you're not holding any tension in the hips or in the legs. And breathe that out. And then we're going to reverse the steps one at a time. So if you have hold of your head, we'll release the right fingers down. We'll walk the left fingers in towards our lap. And then we're going to bring the chin down towards the chest. So not lifting the head all the way up. We'll just slowly begin to turn the face down. And then roll chin towards chest and let the back of your head move forward. And then roll the tops of your shoulders down so you're really isolating the cervical spine, the spine that starts at the top of your back and moves into the base of the skull. And you can breathe here, and you might even feel this stretching sensation along your whole spine or down into the lower fibers of your trapezius muscle, which reach down into your mid-back. Good. And then we're going to move into the other side from here. So slower than slow, inching your chin along the left side of your chest. And then slowly bringing the left ear towards the left shoulder. And then again from here, you can take left hand onto a block. And then you can move the neck around, play with your gaze, play with the position of your chin to find those spots, find that tightness. And then stay and breathe. And by breathing, can we create some more space around that tightness? So we're not clenching around the tightness. We're giving it some more space to breathe, to expand, to let go. Relax the right side of your face. Roll the right shoulder away from your right ear and down. Let the breath be smooth. And then maybe crawling the right fingertips out to the right side or maybe onto a block. And then maybe taking the left fingertips to the left temple or to the back of the head, providing some gentle traction deeper into the stretch. This is all optional, only if you feel like your body wants more. Relax your lower body. Let it melt. One more breath here. We'll reverse the steps one at a time. So first release the left fingers. Walk the right fingers in. And then again, we're going to roll the chin down towards the midline. So keeping the gaze down. Hands come on top of the knees, and then super slowly, we're going to roll the head back on top of the spine. Imagine one bone at a time. We'll do some gentle seated cat-cows here. So on an inhale, I want you to think cow pose. We'll pull the hands back by the hips, pull the elbows behind us, spread the collarbones, press the belly forward. Inhale and gently lift your nose. Exhale, cat. Round the back, you can slide the fingers forward towards your knees. Tuck your tailbone, suck your belly in. Good. And then keep going like that with your breath. We're going to go slowly here, really intentionally. And seeing if we can get the whole spinal column involved here, but being really mindful of the neck. We just put a lot of deep stretching work in, so it may be feeling a little unstable. So we just want to honor that moment-to-moment change that occurs in the body and to keep meeting our body where it is in any given time. Good. Finish up your last round. We'll come back to seated. And then take note of what way you're crossing your legs, and we're going to switch the cross. And this is Snow. Hello, Snow. So the opposite leg is on top now. And this time we're going to go for some side bends. So I've got my blocks here. You don't necessarily need them. We'll take the right forearm down. You can take your right hand down, whatever comfortable for you. And then you can move the position of this block out or in. And then we're going to sweep the left arm up towards the sky and make a gentle circle back with the top arm. So the left arm moves back. And when you don't feel like you can move it back anymore, we'll bend the elbow, really turn the chest towards the sky, and then circle around. And you can choose to take the gaze with you. I'm getting a wet willy. Oh. Or you might just keep the gaze up the whole time, or maybe down. Good, and then you can stay with the small circles, or you might choose to expand this movement. So sweeping the left arm all the way out in front of you, reaching all the way over towards the right side, and then turning the chest up to the sky, bending the elbow. And then closing off the chest, reaching the left arm forward and off to the right. And then turning the chest and circling. Good. And then the last time here, I want you to find that point, again, along the left side body, where it's really sticky. You feel like, oof, there's like a knot there. It's a little tight. And then can you just hang out in that area? So mine's kind of here. My chest is closed off here. Yours might be more open like this. It doesn't matter. And you also can kind of switch it up as we hold the position. Let's take one more breath here. And then on your next inhale, begin to close off the chest and crawl the fingers out in front and then over to the other side. So again, we'll roll the chest open. We're going to start with these small shoulder rolls. So turning chest up to the sky, then the gaze can be up, forward, down, or something in between. Pull the elbow back, sweep the arm forward, pull the elbow back. And then staying with this, or maybe expanding the circles, reaching right arm all the way forward, off to the left and back. And just taking note as you move here, if there's any spot that's calling to you, telling you to stay. And then go to that spot and take a few deep breaths. Good, and on your next inhale, again, we'll close off the chest, crawl the fingers forward. And this time we're gonna fold. So if you like, you can take something underneath your head for when you fold, or if that's too deep, you can come onto forearms. And then sometimes there's a lot of pressure on the ankles here because it's kind of bone on bone with the shin bone and the ankle bone. So you can pad that, either taking a blanket under the bottom ankle or maybe in between the legs. And then coming down into your fold as much as you'd like. Let your body melt down into the floor so that gravity is doing all the work here. We're not holding on to anything. We're fully supported by the earth and by our props. Take your last cycle of breath here. No rush at all. And we're going to reverse the steps. So coming onto the hands if you're on forearms or on your head. Walking them in. And then we're going to switch the cross on the legs. So take a moment to sit back on your hands and just windshield wiper the knees side to side, in and out. And then we're going to go back to the original cross on the legs. So this is probably the side the cross that's most natural to you. And then again, taking any props you need, you can sit up on your pillow, on your blanket, pad your ankles. And then we'll slowly begin to walk forward, resting forehead or forearms onto a block. And we can really appreciate just how different the two sides of our body can be in terms of tightness or openness. Last breath cycle here. We'll reverse our steps very gently, very slowly, walking the hands in. Move your props off to the side. And we are going to move into pigeon pose. So we can start on either side. I'm going to start on my right side. So that means that the right knee is going to be forward. And I'm going to start with the knee in between the hands and the right heel in under my seat. And this is going to be the gentlest way to start. If you'd like a little more, so we're going for an outer hip stretch, like a glute medius stretch, piriformis. So if you want a little more here, and the ankles and the knees don't complain, we're going to start to walk the right foot here. Let me actually turn the other way. We're going to start to walk the right foot out to the side so that this right shin becomes more parallel with the top of the mat. It does not have to go to parallel ever, but if your hips are very open, maybe that's as far as you need to go to feel sensation. And then you can stay upright like this. You can take the hands onto blocks. And actually, the more weight you have over your hips, the deeper the sensation is going to be. If you'd like to relax more into this, you can start to walk the hands forward. You might come onto forearms. You can, again, take your head onto a block, like so. And you're welcome to pad the back knee, pad the back ankle. Sometimes I actually like to slide a block underneath, or a bolster of some sort underneath my back thigh. This is good for pregnant people because it creates more space for the belly. And it also provides some gentle support underneath your right hip, or the bent knee hip, so that there's less of a tendency to roll off to the right side. And putting a block underneath that right butt cheek would accomplish the same thing. So this is what mine looks like. Yours might look different. It's totally fine. Just make sure that you're comfortable. And then we'll make our way into it. And just relaxing again down into the floor. Probably hear my dog having her lunch. Maybe you can become really aware of the sounds all around you. This whole landscape of sound around us. And we are at the spot of the observer. Just taking it all in. Sounds very far away. Sounds very close in. Maybe sounds inside of our bodies. Taking some time to notice all of that. Notice these things that often we just take for granted. They're so ordinary, we don't pay them any mind. And so in this way, becoming more mindful, more present. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Seeing if we can really savor these last few moments. And then when you're ready, we'll begin to come back onto the hands if you're folded. Removing props. And then we're gonna get out of this just by rolling onto the front leg hip. So for me, it's my right hip. I'm gonna roll off to the right. Remove this pillow so that I'm coming to sit. Ooh, and you can straighten out this front knee a little bit if you need. Ooh, that feels good. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull the right knee in so the right heel is in towards my left thigh. And we're gonna fold here. So a wide-legged fold with a bent right knee. And then you can set up your props or you don't need them at all. So if you'd like to stay upright, say you were folded, you wanna stay upright, you can take the hands behind you. You can come, take hands onto blocks and open the chest this way. Or if you want to fold forward, you can build your props into a ramp. So I'm gonna take one block on the high setting, and then I'm gonna put a pillow on top. So I've got this little ramp. Actually, I'm actually gonna put this little block behind it. So it's like a T shape. And then put the pillow on top. And what this is gonna do is provide me a nice support that I can rest my torso on. Now, some of you with tight hamstrings or any kind of sciatic nerve pain on this left leg may not want to keep the knee totally straight. And so you can pad the underside of the knee. You can roll up your blanket or if you have a towel. And so that's going to take some of the stress out of that hamstring and knee. And then if the heel gets sore, you can do the same thing. You can pad underneath the heel. Okay, so when you're all set up, we'll go ahead and come into it. And see if you can make this more about letting go than holding on. I'll just take a few more breaths here. Slower than slow. We'll build our way back up out of the posture. And then we're going to do all of that on the other side. So we'll just pivot to face the other leg. So if you're facing one side of your mat, you'll now be facing the other side. So my left knee is going to bend, and my right leg is going to extend behind me. And then again, you've got options with props. You can take a support underneath this back thigh to lift the hips, to pad the back knee, and to provide a wedge under this left hip so that you're less likely to roll open. And then you can come down onto forearms if you want, or you can prop your hands up on blocks to stay upright. Any position of your front foot is good, as long as it's good with your knee and your ankle. Because remember, it's not about fitting our bodies into the pose. It's about fitting the pose to our bodies. That's always been my philosophy of yoga. The poses that you see, if you were to Google image pigeon pose, it's just a general guideline. That doesn't mean that's what your body's going to look like, and definitely not every day. Doing your best to stay present here. Riding the waves of the breath. And we'll take one last full inhale and release it. And then slowly making our way back up. And rolling onto the outer hip. Coming back into our wide-legged fold on the other side. You can adjust the position of your legs. So I'm at about 180 degrees here. You might be more at 90. You can just decide what feels good. And then building your props however you like. We'll come down into it again. And you might return to those qualities from when we started class. Mind's like a clear sky. Heart like a deep, wide ocean. Body like a mountain. Solid. We'll just take a couple more breaths here. No rush. Allowing the body to surrender so that we can get the full benefits of the posture in these last moments. And then building our way back up. Removing the props. And then you might help this extended leg in. We're going to move on to our backs. Before we do that, just take a moment to sit back on your hands. You might roll back on the pelvis slightly. And then sashay the legs side to side. Then we're going to move into a supported bridge. So you can put a support underneath your pelvis, the back of your pelvis. So that's going to be this is your sacrum. It's a bony plate at the back of your pelvis. And that's where we're going to put our support. Above the sacrum is our lumbar spine, which has a natural curve. We don't want to put the support there because if we support that, we're going to exaggerate that curve, and that can just be really uncomfortable for people. So it's going below that, and you'll know when you're on it because it should feel really nice. So I'm going to be really gentle about this actually, and I'm going to put my blanket underneath there. But you're welcome to use a pillow, a block, maybe even 2 blocks. So pulling your prop up against your tailbone and then laying back. And again, it should be under that bony plate. And you might roll the shoulders underneath you to prop up the chest, and then let the sides of the neck be long. So you can roll the head from side to side just to make sure there's no tension in the neck and that we're flat on the back of the head. And then from here, you can do whatever you want with your legs. I think it's really nice to take the feet as wide as the mat and let the knees knock. That just provides a lot of space for my lower back to release and decompress. But you might choose to do the opposite of that, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees out wide into butterfly. And then you can even put some props underneath the outsides of your knees so it's not as deep in your groins. Feel for some space between your back molars. And the widening between the ears. You might even sense your whole heart space relaxing, spreading, opening. Let's take just one last breath cycle here, but don't rush it. Make it big. And then we're going to move into Shavasana. So walking the feet in slightly, weighting the feet so that you can lift the hips and slide your prop out of the way. And then you might grab an article of clothing to keep yourself warm, maybe something to put over your eyes. I am going to take my blanket underneath my shoulders so that the bottom of it is just at the bottom of my shoulder blades. And this is going to provide just a tiny little bit of a heart opener here. And then walk the feet out. You can put something underneath your knees too. That can be really nice. Oh, I just realized we didn't use our strap. I apologize. Let the toes flop out. Let the palms turn up. And then again, roll the head a few times. Make sure there's no tension in the neck. Pedal out the knees. And then let everything settle down onto the earth. Feeling for front of the body moving into back of the body. And back of the body melting down into the floor. Please feel free to stay in Shavasana for as long as you are called to. This is where I will leave you until the next time that we meet. I hope that you stay well, stay peaceful. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.